Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Crypto Byte. Today is Wednesday, February 16th, and pulling back a little bit this morning, but we got the Fed minutes coming out later today. Perhaps might provide some clarity on those rate hikes and get the market back on track. But as for now, pulling back pretty much across the board here today. We've got some headlines to dive into today. Warren Buffett, flip-flopping a little bit from his 2018 stance, calling Bitcoin rat poison squared, now has over $1 billion dollars worth of capital invested in blockchain related companies, and a whole lot more to talk about today. But before we get started, CJ, how you doing, my friend?
Doing well, Monty. Yeah, might as well just start with that news straight off the bat.
Yeah. Let me pull up that headline real quick.
I got it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so specifically, he dumped Visa and MasterCard, which is quite interesting. Kind of the legacy payment providers, obviously, for more like newer and innovative fintech firms. The most notably being Neobank, which is a blockchain-related company, specifically in Brazil, and they are. Let me get here. Nubank is one of the largest fintech banks in Brazil, and it is also popular among the country's Bitcoin investors. So, quite the pivot, but when markets demand that, it's necessary. So,
And that's just more bullish macro news. But again, like I said, pulling back a little bit today, uncertainty kind of seems to be the theme here this morning. We had that Fed meeting yesterday. We're getting the minutes later today, I believe around 1 p.m. Central. Hopefully that will provide some clarity. But in the meantime, CJ, it seems like traditional equities, Bitcoin, and alts, all across the board, pulling back this morning. Any thoughts on what we're seeing from a technical perspective?
Yeah, let's take a look. Do want to do a lot of in-depth Bitcoin analysis today. Actually, why don't we start with some equities?
Hopefully that's not a trend line.
Yeah, no, my tool it's acting up a little bit there.
Okay, good.
Yeah, there was some new mod on it, and yeah, I forgot how to use it. Anyways, getting to starting with the S&P, just weakness across the board in traditional markets, not able to break above and create a higher high ever since last week, and it kind of looks as if we're heading a little bit more towards the bottom of that range, at least for the foreseeable future. Even following the positive developments around Russia and Ukraine conflict yesterday, we were only able to rally about 1%. The day is young or the night is young, depending on when you're watching this. So this could change within the end of the day. It's not where price opens necessarily. It's where it closes during the day. We still have 6 more hours. So we'll see how price develops going in. But the posture in general is not that one that is particularly bullish. Same type of story with the NASDAQ. We've discussed how correlated the NASDAQ and Bitcoin have been, which has been really an interesting thing to follow, as well as the Qs. And, you have all of these charts creating the lower high in the macro trend and just not looking particularly bullish at this current stage, at least for a shorter term swing trade. If you're bullish fundamentally or bearish fundamentally, I think there are interesting arguments for both cases at this current point. Going down to another thing we followed quite closely is just these 10-year yields, or the treasury yield, specifically with 10-year and 30 years. This is the 10-year right now, really at an all-time high ever since, or at a high it hasn't reached since 2019, which is quite profound. Obviously, we've talked about how this impacts the performance of stocks and of crypto. If the treasury yields are rallying very heavily, it's obviously going to make difficult for investors to become lured into risk-on assets. Now, let's go to Bitcoin. And this is basically where I started. Just looking at the linear regression channel and what we've seen on the weekly chart, we actually are forming some support here and bouncing from this midline level. We've actually never, we've done it tentatively in the past, but typically, you look at 2018 when we ran into this level, it was just a straight decline downward. But I do think there are some macro bullish construction at least starting to begin on the weekly chart. One of that namely comes from just Heikin-Ashi candles. It's not much yet, but it is something to say that when you look at a lot of these Heikin-Ashi candles, and once you start kind of this green trend, if this can be sustainable, this would be, the mark of a new trend here. The fact that we're starting to see bullish momentum actually come back in and create some green Heikin-Ashi candles on the weekly chart. Now, going to a shorter term time frame, daily, we're still struggling with the resistance for Bitcoin at the middle of this range that we've been trading in, all the way going back to the start of 21. If we apply the trend scanner, we still are bullish. So we still are maintaining somewhat of a bullish bias, forming support after underneath that EMA, and are giving this resistance level another test. So if we are able to consolidate here, it is a test of patience where, are we going to test this level a couple times and then eventually break to the upside? Or are we going to lose momentum generally? And, if we see a close below that lower EMA, that's when it would look for potential bearish continuation down to potentially the 38 level. Not seeing that yet. Still keeping the bullish bias as we remain green above this level. But, it's just something to consider moving forward here. But that's kind of the long-term weekly outlook on Bitcoin and the daily kind of outlook on Bitcoin, as well as just a brief overview of the S&P and some of traditional markets. But not a whole lot to say today. I know JP Morgan entered the metaverse, so maybe you want to maybe you have some comments on that.
Yeah, sure. I can talk about that real quick. Yeah, let's talk about it. I'll pull up the mana chart here because, like you said, CJ, the JP Morgan did choose to enter the metaverse. I'll get to that headline in a second. But they did choose specifically Decentraland or Mana. Saw a nice pop this morning, going against the price action of the market, but ultimately has kind of been sold into at this critical level here at about 3.4. But let's get to the headline. JP Morgan enters the metaverse with virtual Decentraland lounge. And basically, they built a lounge where you can go hang out. It's called the Onyx Lounge. It's in Decentraland. Maybe I'll have to go check it out. But not only did they, create this lounge, I think what's more noteworthy is their, estimate for the future of the metaverse. And I think they actually lay out a relatively decent case as to why, they think the metaverse could potentially be, seeing $1 trillion in yearly revenue. And, the people have talked about, all social interaction in the future taking place in the metaverse. They're not saying that needs to happen. They're just saying that they recognize that there's a massive opportunity in terms of, going beyond what the current online market consumes and, seeing much more entertainment spending and e-commerce within the metaverse. And I think that's definitely possible. We've talked about, some potential applications in the metaverse being like, CJ and I being able to watch a Bulls game together, like sitting courtside with our Oculus Rifts on. I could definitely see that being a future, utility of this sort of ecosystem. And, JP Morgan seems to be recognizing that. So, investing there and also putting out a lofty expectation for, the future value of the metaverse. And I don't think that, it's baseless. So, interesting stuff there. Like I said, Mana's pulling back a little bit, but again, showing signs of strength amidst this market pullback. And obviously that's on the back of that news there. So that's all we got for today, I think. Anything you would like to leave the audience with here, CJ, before we wrap it up?
We're going to take a look at ETH and many other crypto assets and some models that we've been looking at in our Doge of the Day analysis for members only directly after this. And if you guys would like to get access to that or follow us, in our community there, you can check out the link in the description below at marketrebellion.com/try crypto. Just $7 for the first week to experiment with, see if you like it. Also, if you enjoyed the content today, please consider liking and subscribing. That helps us a lot. We appreciate it. But I hope you guys have a great day. Yeah, what's up?
I got one more thing. Cannot forget about this. New content on the site on YouTube. Crypto Convo, cryptoconvo.com. You can check it out there. This is Jon in his ventures in Puerto Rico and, all throughout the world, interviewing various crypto-related CEOs and crypto-related personalities. You can check him out here. We talked about this a little bit yesterday on Dojo of the Day, but this is free for anyone to check out at cryptocombo.com. And my favorite so far is this one, episode 2. He interviews David Burt, the premier of Bermuda, and it's actually really insightful. And David is a really intelligent guy, so to hear him speaking, intelligently about crypto is very reassuring. So lots of great content here. More to come as well. These are just the first 3, so definitely head over to cryptocombo.com. You can also check it out on Marco Rebellion's YouTube channel. So, but that is all we got for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you on the members only Dojo of the Day. Have a great rest of your day and take care.